Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Our guest today is Nicole Richards. So Nicole, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Hi, my name is Nicole Richards. I am in Cameron, North Carolina, which is a small town right outside of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I'm originally from Queens, so if my New York accent comes out, that's the reason why. I am the founder of CPA Coaching, which stands for Change, Purpose, Action, and creator of the Rest and Reset Retreat, which we're having our first annual this October. I work with women who have done everything for everyone, right? They got the degrees, the families, the jobs, but they feel exhausted by the weight they carry. They're not broken. They're just grieving. They're grieving who they thought they had to be to survive. So I'm helping them interrupt that cycle with a 3-day pause. And then we're going into a 90-day plan to reset that rhythm.
Awesome. So I'm just curious more about your background. Like, how did you get into this in the first place?
It's like, if I was to really think about, there's no one way or one story that led me to this moment. But if I was to really think about it, 5 years ago, next week, a week from today, I had a miscarriage. I had a stillborn and I lost my daughter at 19 weeks, 5 days during the pandemic. This was a time when you had to wear a mask and, you weren't even being seen at the doctor's office, right? And it was frustrating because I knew I was a high risk. I was considered geriatric age of being pregnant. And it's just like, all I'm doing is a Zoom call. Are you kidding me? So by the time I ended up in the hospital, we're still hearing the baby's heartbeat, but because my body was not healed from prior surgeries I've had with fibroids and things like that, I realized I had not been an advocate for my body and for my health. And so now it's almost like a revenge tour of that, where I'm speaking up about it and putting my voice out there, that the things that are not right and that could be fixed. And it starts with me taking a moment to pause, right? Every time I've had some kind of major moment, I've had to just say, get away and just figure things out. And I come back and I put my head down and I go to work, right? And I've done this throughout my life. And I didn't realize that was something I was doing as a business, right? It was just me trying to survive. And then I realized, no, I'm not trying to survive. I'm thriving, right? Every time I've taken the pause, I've gotten my CPA license, or I've gotten a degree, or I've gotten a 6-figure job. I used to work at Walmart making $7.50, right? So now to be at 6 figures in my government job and saying, I don't want this. I want 7 figures as an entrepreneur. It's crazy. But it was literally because of what happened with my health. And I realized there were so many women who are suffering silently with their health, right? They're not being advocates. They don't know how to speak up for themselves. We grow up as a first generation immigrant where you're not allowed to, speak up, right? We have cultural dynamics where you don't know how to ask questions. You don't know how to say no. Once I learned how to do that, I said, oh, we should all be doing this. We should all have boundaries, right? So yeah.
I'm just curious in terms of what you're doing now, right? Like, how do you work with your clients? How do you help them? If you can just share more about that.
Yeah. So I get on a call with them. We go over and strategize what's the issue, right? What is it that's keeping them stuck in the situation that they have? And oftentimes, it'll be a moment like yesterday I was on with my client and there's a conversation. I'm like, well, where did that first start? Where was that feeling coming up for you, right? It could be something where she's stressed out or she felt her heart racing, right? And now she's feeling scared. Well, when was the first time you felt this scared moment? Because you're not in a scared place. You're in a safe place right now. So where was that? And all of a sudden, every conversation that's ever happened in her life comes about, right? And it's like, okay, let's massage this. Let's understand your feelings are valid. We don't need to bury them, because every time we try to bury them and pile on other things, life gets in the way and we're like, we'll deal with it later. No, deal with it now so you can just move on. Right? Your life will be so much easier if you deal with the emotion you're experiencing. And so that's what we sit in. We sit in on that uncomfortable and we move forward, right? Like, okay, I feel valid. I don't have to explain why I needed to take this rest. I don't need to explain why I said no to going to this event. I just said no. No other explanation behind it.
But I guess in terms of when somebody's working with you and if they're going through that, is there something beyond just having these conversations? Obviously now people do things like breath work or certain supplements or working out at the gym, other things that kind of supplement, you could say, what you're helping people with?
Yeah, so it's a course essentially. So the 12-week course that this is what we're creating for October, this first initiation of it is to go through a program of watching these videos and seeing what is it you need to do to learn how to have boundaries, how to have self-love, right? How to prioritize yourself. Like each month is a different hub. And once you have that hub, it's like, here we have these assignments and then we do weekly group coaching, right? Because that's what I want. I want the community part out of it. I want these 5 to 8 women to sit here and say, we got each other. So the rest is the retreat is we're coming together. We're meeting for the first time. Might be a little socially awkward, but it's okay. Like we're going to hold hands together. And now we're not leaving. We're going to spend the next 12 weeks in this community online, encouraging each other and making sure that we can get to that next level, whatever it is for everybody, right? Everyone's on a different mission. My main focus are business owners who don't know what to do next, right? They have not experienced networking or they haven't experienced a landing page or just launch it ugly. I don't care what it looks like. Just try it. We can tweak it after the fact. It's just because you're in this whole thought process that we need a break, right? So that is the whole point of like my strategy.
For sure. And then I guess in terms of like finding people for your course, for your community, like what's been like the best way? Has it been through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, other channels? Like what does that kind of look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love being on Facebook groups, but I really love being in person. I will look up a online networking event that's either local or somewhere else. I just got back from ROI and I mentioned it to you with Rachel Rogers, and she's an author and coach, business coach, my business coach, and we should all be millionaires. That's her whole focus. And that room was magnifying. I've been to so many retreats and so many networking events, even from my college days on to now. And so that's over 15 years. And I've never experienced an event like that, right? It was just lively. There was so much color. Every Black woman or every person that's from a disenfranchised community was just there in their raw self, right? And they're showing up and saying, this is my business and this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to make this money. I'm here to connect with people. And yeah, it was just like everyone just wanted to be helpful, right? And seeing Susan Hyatt and Rachel and Robert Hartwell and all these wonderful people. Fawn Weaver, she's a founder of Uncle Nearest, the owner of Uncle Nearest. So it's just like, wow, these people are just here pouring into us. And, we're crying, we're fangirling, at least I was, and it's just like, this is the environment where I didn't feel like I need to have my business cards and have to be completely polished. Right? Because sometimes that nervousness happens and then you're in your head, right? Now I'm not talking to anyone. This was a room where I'd never felt that. Someone's going to grab you. You're not going to be by yourself. So, and then there was a rodeo.
That's awesome. So you're saying like that, like event, for example, was great for you to make connections and connect with people. And some of those folks that you connected with are now participating or planning on joining your course in October.
Yes. That's been the most exciting because, you ideate a lot and you're creating these ideas and you're like, well, let me try this. And it's just talk to somebody. I've been talking to myself and it's like, just talk to someone. And so being in that room where people look like my ideal client avatar was just like, wow, here you are. I didn't know where to find you. Right. And I'm like, I'm online looking for you. I know you're online, but I didn't know how to reach you. So going into those rooms was just like, oh, you're looking for me. I was looking for you.
That's awesome. So I guess like in terms of like launching your course, obviously there's many different types of courses out there. So how do you kind of make sure that your course is actually giving value to your customers?
So that's a great question. So that's where we're still in the marketing stage of that to see what is it they need. But the way I look at it is I have a framework and it's called Change, Purpose, Action. So the first part is that we've taken this awareness. This is what the retreat is. We're aware that there's some things that are just not in alignment with us anymore. So we need to make a change. That's what that first month is going to be about. What we need to understand, see it. If it's a life audit, let's look at your life. If it's a business audit, let's look at that, right? Determining what it is that woman needs. And then from there, we're looking at the purpose. What is your why, right? Not that surface level, the 5 levels deep for why you feel like you needed this change and where we're going. So that way, when we go take this action, you are going, sorry for this words, balls to walls on getting the job done, right? I am a former athlete, so I'm thinking of this as the first half of your life has happened. You don't know what that was. And we need to go into halftime in the booth and figure this out, strategize, and then go back out there and take it on.
For sure. And when it comes to things like your why, I mean, how important are things like vision boards, right? To kind of like have certain goals to work towards.
It is so important. For me, I used to think it was a joke. I'm like, I'm not putting this out. It's not going to come true. And I came with all this negative energy, right? And then when I said, why can't we go after what we're putting on here? So now it's on my desktop. It's on my phone. Like when I need to go into work mode, I put in do not disturb and I see my vision board pictures. And it's like, okay, things are happening, right? We do it in January and then we don't even think to look back. So now I'm more cognizant by having it so validly in front of me to say, we're knocking the things off, right? One of mine was, the first thing was finalize my divorce. And when it didn't happen in January, I was like, okay. Didn't happen in February, I was like, okay. And I was just so focused on that first one, I didn't realize the rest of my board was clearing out, right? I wanted to read more. I wanted unlimited business besties. I wanted to, love myself more, right? There were all these other things happening, but I was so fixated on that one. And I said, when I stopped doing that and I looked at the rest of the board, that first thing happened. It cleared out. I was like, I just need to not try to control everything and just move and focus on what I need to do, right? I need to focus on this business because I see this as being something that is not just a business, right? It's a movement for me. I am so adamant about us resting. Keep trying to work through and grind through everything. And then we're in the hospitals with health issues, right? Especially as Black women. I was on blood pressure medication in my 30s, right? I'm on my second one going into my 40s. And I was like, this doesn't make sense, right? It's my environment. It's the level of stress. It's my mindset. I need to fix this so that way it's not passing on to my son, right? So now seeing that, I'm like, this could have been prevented for my mom, but she didn't have the tools. I have the tools now. So now let me go help some other women.
For sure. And then in terms of, I guess, like building like this community, obviously the course is one part, but the in-person side, I'm just curious, like, how much more value does that add? 'Cause I think that for many people, they're afraid to go in person. It's like just super comfortable behind a screen, especially kind of post-COVID 2025. So what does that look like to actually go and like meet people in person and actually get them to come out to your event?
So it's interesting because sometimes I can go to a bar and sit by myself and people just approach me. I don't know what it is about me. I don't know if it's my energy, vibrations. I don't know what it is, but people will literally walk up to me. And, for the longest, I'm like, what? What is it about me that, you want to have a conversation? And now I just accept it because then I end up having such great conversations with people, right? Like I love it to death. Like I could do it for free, right? I've been on planes where, I'm getting stock advice from somebody because we happen to have nobody in the middle of the seat. It's like, oh, let's just have a conversation. And I'm giving him coaching advice about what he should do for his next career move, right? And I'm just like, oh, I love this, right? I get energetic from it. And when I feel it, I see other women or other people feeling it too. You start seeing everyone's shoulders look more relaxed versus when you're behind a Zoom or, a screen, you're trying to fit this one box. You don't even know how tall I am right now. When I've met people that I've had on, in other masterminds that I've been, and then you meet them in person, you're like, you're shorter than you're taller than, like there's this whole dynamic and it's like, I love you more, right? I can appreciate you more. I want to support you more. How can I show up for you more? Because now I know who you are. You're not just a box.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I guess like obviously now we're kind of halfway through 2025. So what are you really focused on for the rest of this year for your business?
The first half was me fishing around as an entrepreneur because I literally just stopped working for the federal government. And, I had started other businesses. I had coloring books. I was a travel agent and all the things, right? Network marketing. I have done a very vast range in like 2.5 years. And I was like, okay, we're going to go take this seriously now. And we're going to focus on the retreat. It was like, but what? Let's try this other idea. No, we're going to focus on the retreat. So that's what right now I'm in my own 90-day reset coming out of ROI in Huntington Beach and like enjoying the moments and being able to embrace. So I'm in my own 90 days so that I can document it and show it, say, listen, it's not that hard. We're making things too complicated. Let's peel some stuff back and we start with a pause.
That makes sense. I guess besides that, right? So if we can look at maybe 1 year out, what are you kind of focused on? I guess even like post-retreat.
Post-retreat, what am I focused on? That is a great question. I'm focused on them being focused. I need them to understand that they are capable of doing anything that they want to do, right? So one of my clients, when we were talking yesterday, she hasn't been able to work her business, right? She has the kids, she has the spouse, she has all these things going on. And I'm like, you have the time. You just don't know the direction. And because you're always just running around taking care of everyone else, you don't know how to take care of yourself. Let's stop and figure out what that looks like for you. So we can strategize together and come up with a plan for your business, right? Do you need to focus on marketing right now? Do you need to focus on launching? What is it you need to focus on for these next 90 days? So that's why I say I can't make the decision for them. They have to be in the room. They have to have that pause and figure out what it is they need. And then that's the one thing we're going to focus on for 90 days. I don't want them trying to juggle everything else. It's like, let's learn how to take back time so we can get back to our families and we can get after the money to take care of our communities.
Makes sense. So if you could go back in time to before you started your entrepreneurship journey, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
It's not going to be that fast. Take your time, be patient. It's okay to work with your mistakes. That's the biggest one. Work with your mistakes. It is not the end of the world.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's very good advice. So if somebody's watching this and if they wanted to work with you or be part of your retreat in October, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you and find you?
So they can go on Instagram at Nicole Richards 718 or LinkedIn, Nicole Richards CPA, or they can email me at NicoleRichardsCPA@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, Nicole, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, that was it.